Hello, everybody. My name is Afro X, the anime guide. I am the host of Otaku Odyssey on Nerdtastic News. Tonight we're gonna have a really great stream. I'm collaborating with Island Boy Manuel and Cryo Prime, also of Nerdtastic News fame. And tonight we're gonna be talking about live action One Piece. Super excited to get into this with all of you. So yeah, just to let everyone know, I'm also streaming this over on my channel, or if you're watching on my channel, you're probably seeing this. But yes, this live stream is also going on the AfroX channel. So yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm out. What is up?
Not much. Good to see you, Cryo.
Good to be here, especially talking about some One Piece. It's something that I honestly thought Netflix was going to screw up too.
And they didn't. If we had been running this, I would have screwed it up because I would have done something. It would have been Gore Verbinski's Pirates of the Caribbean, but with farmer attire on their head. That's what I would have done with this franchise. So you guys should be very happy that it was not my call, because this was a fairly good thing, I thought anyway. Uriah, what did you think about the show kind of overall?
So I did take some notes, and while I was watching the show, I just want to tell everyone in the audience that I pulled a full work day and I watched all eight hours of the series yesterday. But my thoughts in general was that I thought it was okay. I thought it started good. I thought it started rough. I thought it ended really well. I loved the ending. And honestly, by the end, it didn't feel like I was watching live action One Piece. It just felt like I was watching One Piece. And I think it's perfect that the actors were able to kind of make it so that you were kind of detached from seeing it as a live action adaptation, you know?
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cody, what about you, brother?
I'm only about halfway through the series myself, so I haven't finished it. So I haven't seen it, I guess, improve. I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't think it's bad, but I'm not in love with like the first 4 episodes. But I mean, like you said, it's kind of weird that I'm praising a Netflix anime just at all, because it actually is pretty good for a live action adaptation.
I was pleasantly surprised. I walked into this thinking it was going to be Devil is a Part-Timer again. I thought I was going to walk into this thinking this was Legend of the Shield Hero. I walked into this thinking it was going to be My Hero Academia. All things that people love, but things that I don't. And not that any of them were bad. I was just expecting something else. And when I walked into this, I'll admit, just like Afro said, it was like going out to sea. It was choppy near the shore. All right. I'm listening to some line deliveries that would not be out of place in the worst CW show. I'm looking at characters that feel way too young, that do not feel like they're at sea because it's not dirty or grimy. There's no rust on anything. It's too shiny. What was I watching? But you know what? As it progressed, it got better and better. And as we got to the open seas of the episode towards the middle, it really does hit its stride, and it is kind of smooth sailing from there. So I would agree wholeheartedly with Afro on that. Go ahead.
Okay. The only last thing I wanted to add to my all around thoughts was I think that this is really good for like general audiences. I think that if you wanted to watch this to get a jump into the story of One Piece, I think it would be fine to watch this alternate version. Of course, go back, read the manga, watch the anime, find out the real story. But I think if you wanted to just jump from the beginning to like the end of East Blue, I think this would be a perfect way to quickly jump into One Piece.
You know what? And I heard Cryo say that he was halfway through this series. And how many volume of manga is there for this, Afro?
So pretty much in the 8 episodes is about the content of about 80 to 90 chapters of the manga. And a manga volume is probably around 5 chapters. So I'd say this is probably about 20 volumes in.
20 volumes in. That covers a lot of ground. That covers a ton of ground.
Yeah.
Keeps things moving.
All right, so it does keep things moving. Let's talk a little bit about structure and pace. If that or Afro, was there anything that you wanted us to talk about first, or any specific thing you wanted us to hit on?
Well, to be honest, like I wrote like a bunch of notes. Could I read through some of them?
Sure.
Okay. I thought the action was good. And the actual adaptation moments are super inspiring. The moments of like Shanks giving Luffy the hat, the moments of like Luffy doing the gum pistol punch on Alvida, all the moments that were actually in the manga, I thought were done really well because they tried their best to take the manga panel and make a like ratio shot to shot remake of the manga panel. So what you're watching is what you would see in the manga. I for the character of Garp, I didn't really like how they made him very angry. I kind of feel like he has Admiral Akanu's anger. And also his hat is dumb. His hat, his little dog hat, was the dumbest costume in the entire thing. Like in the manga, his hat. Yeah, in the manga, his hat looks like a dog is biting the top of his head. And in this, it looks like somebody bought like a $5 version of it from like a cosplay store.
Well, but to be fair, almost every costume, aside from what Garp is wearing on his person and what Iron Hand is wearing in the first little 2 episode arc, all look like they were purchased at like Spencer's Gifts or like they came from rag stock. Like I will say that in terms of production quality of in this adaptation, almost everyone is wearing modern clothes and there's nothing feels lived in. I think that's one of my main complaints with this entire world is we're led to believe that East Blue, if this is the only area of One Piece I'll ever get to explore, is this like pirate haven and it's all seas. And something, when I made the joke about Gore Verbinski earlier, I stand by that there is no grit. This does not look like a world of pirates. This looks like a staged show. Everything looks like a set. Everything is really clean. There's no sea air rust on any of the metal. If Luffy is on that little boat at the very beginning and he's been on that boat for God knows how long, or Kobe's been on Alvida's ship for so long, everything that he's wearing is bright white and there's no sun bleaching to Luffy's vest. There's nothing to make you feel like they didn't just wake up, leave their house and get in a boat today. Like that's one of my main complaints.
You also know that at least from the anime like viewers point of view, looking at these costumes, if they would have made them lived in and dirty and ragged, they would have bitched about that because then it wouldn't have been, screen accurate. They wouldn't have been that bright red vest on Luffy.
But is Luffy? I mean, to be fair to that point, is Luffy Hispanic in the manga? Like, I mean, we're allowing certain things, right, to change. So we could allow a costume change, at least to me.
Yeah, well, didn't Oda at some point, I mean, Afro probably knows, but Oda at some point said that if they placed them in the real world, I thought he said he'd be Brazilian or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And he was a
What
really good
was
casting.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
he played it
yes.
really well.
Inaki Godoy is absolutely amazing. As for the costumes, if I had to pick a best costume, I'd say Lucky Roo, the guy on Shanks's crew that had like the green and white shirt and the goggles.
Yeah.
He had the best costume that I saw. Uh, but yeah, I mean, what was really cool with Inaki Godoy was that, and I'd love to share the clip with you guys sometime, but there was a there was a video that was put on YouTube by Netflix, and Inaki Godoy playing Luffy got to meet Ichiro Oda, and Ichiro Oda literally said, "There is no one else that I would want playing Luffy except you." And
Yeah.
it was amazing, and everyone is crying, and it was great.
Yeah, Oda actually had a lot of control and input in this series, didn't he? Because when they did
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop, they took notes from the original creator, but he wasn't like none of them were involved in the actual creation of it. And he like that whole team, I think, even disowned Cowboy Bebop just as a property from the Netflix live action. But with Oda, I thought that he had all control over it.
He did, even down to stuff like he picked the day that that it was going to be released, like specifically on August 31st.
Is there significance to August 31st, or is he just like I'm
I
tired of
I don't
waiting?
I don't know if there's any significance. The only thing I think is I think he wanted to release it on 31st because new Netflix shows come out on the 1st of the month, or a lot of new Netflix shows come out on the 1st of the month, and I feel like he didn't want it to get muddled with a bunch of other content.
Gotcha. Let's take a quick shout out to the chat. We've got Trix in the house. Big Herm popped in. Chop dropped in. Trix, the anime hater, in the house. We have brother Joe here, and Hip Hops and me, Steve, who we know is big anime fan. Cryo, you've been on his show.
Absolutely.
And he said he binged the whole damn thing. Binged the whole damn thing.
Nice.
So yeah, the casting. Let's get into casting. If we've got a minute, let's talk a little bit about casting. I think that the guy that plays Luffy grew on me. I think Luffy's a difficult character to at least from my opinion. Now, again, if you're just coming into this, you don't know anything about Island Boy Manuel. One thing you should know is that I do not watch anime. I don't really do anything with anime other than edit anime videos. I don't really have much stock in it. I love me some Full Metal Alchemist and I love me some Hellsing, and that's about it. So when it comes to this, I'm approaching this as a film reviewer, and I am completely unattached. I think Luffy in this seems to be a difficult character because he's nothing but confidence. He's nothing but positivity, and this is a world that's very dangerous, very bleak. I feel like at first I had a little bit of trouble with the character because I thought he's not acting in a believable way, but I feel like he's very true to whatever this character is. And as it got forward and he had people who he cared for and cared for him, I feel like some of that positivity, some of that joie de vivre like really rubbed off on me, and I really started to connect with him. I don't know that I got that from the other two mains in this show. I would say that I really was not a fan of Zoro's the actor who played him. I thought physically great action sequences, brilliant martial artist. Line delivery was the exact same every time, and I also feel like we had some problems with some of the other characters. But let's go around the horn. Let's start with Cryo. Your favorite character and your least favorite character casting in this show.
See, I'm at a point where Luffy hasn't quite grown on me yet, but I don't think he's a terrible fit for the role. Nami has actually surprised me more than I thought because I hadn't seen a lot of Nami stuff in the trailers or anything like that. So I wasn't expecting much, but I actually feel like they kind of got her character right. So Nami would be my choice for favorite, just because it surprised me the most.
Do you have a least favorite?
At the moment, Buggy. I wasn't a big fan of that performance myself.
Gotcha. Any is it he's too over the top? What is it about Buggy?
Nah, I just like when he did the chop chop cannon line, like I know it's the line, but I just really didn't like the delivery. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird for me to say because I don't really have anything I specifically hate about him. I just liked him probably the least. But I'm also only halfway through the show, so that could change.
Okay. Afro, what about you, brother?
It's so weird to be here as a huge fan because I'm hearing stuff from you guys and I want to add stuff, but I also want to let you guys speak. As for my least favorite character, that's it's hard to say. No, Axeham Morgan. Axeham Morgan has to be the worst portrayal that was in the whole thing. For my favorite character, I really liked how Sanji was portrayed. Sanji was very good. Obviously, I said Lucky Roo had the best costume, but I like how Sanji was portrayed in it. But no, not Sanji. Zeph. That's right, Chef Zeph. I put in my notes. It was my favorite character. Yeah, I like what they did with him. I realize Cryo's not there yet, so I won't reveal too much. But Zeph was great. But talking about Nami, Emily Rudd, a lot of people are saying, including Grand Line Review, said that Emily Rudd did so good in this. And about your comment about Buggy, I understand that. It was weird because in the trailer for it, Buggy had the most accurate costume out of anyone. But in the actual show, I in his episode where like we were in the tent and everything, I loved that they made him Heath Ledger Joker type scary. And I got those Joker vibes. But eventually as it went down the line and stuff, he became more annoying than like scary. And I think that's where they did it right in the manga by like writing him out of the story, because you can love Buggy for a little bit, but eventually Buggy will wear you down.
He's got a great power set though. I gotta say that was fun to watch. That fight was really fun. I honestly think that's probably one of my favorite fight sequences in this show. I actually think episode 2 had some really strong. I mean, all the action in this is really fun. Nami, I feel like, is the only one given anything really meat and potatoes to do dramatically. I think that one of the reasons why, especially as you get into the flashbacks part of the story, she's the only one that. It's not that Zoro's storyline isn't emotional. It's the actor doesn't give it any emotion, and that's probably the way he's portrayed in the anime or the manga. Is probably very stoic like that. But as far as again, just reviewing this as a film on its merits, I feel like Nami's the only one really given anything really heavy to do. So as far as like acting wise, I feel like red-haired Shanks too is another character that I think is portrayed very well, not in the show very much, but portrayed very well. So those were some definite standout performances. But yeah, Buggy can be a little bit of a I feel like you lose the menace from him pretty quick. I feel like Not even just in the
There's
way he's
that
portrayed.
too, but the whole scene like into the tent and whatnot, because it's been a long time since I've watched the first few episodes of the anime, so I was a little lost there. But like they introduced the lion tamer guy, and I thought they were going to bring out the lion and all the other like acts they had, but then it was just
they
like
cut the lion.
just Buggy, and like the one dude was in there for like one scene, so it's like this whole pirate crew is really just Buggy.
Yeah. Can I change my least favorite?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I'll change mine too. No.
Captain Cryo, the Clahador, the killer butler. I absolutely hate him. That was the Syrup Village. That whole thing was my least favorite episode of all of it, because I could not get out of my head how plastic his makeup looked and how much he looked like Robbie Rotten. I half expected him to start singing "We Are Number One" in the middle of trying to murder Kaya. And
I didn't get that. Like, I got Schmidt from New Girl. I got Schmidt from New Girl. That's who I got the entire.
I get that.
But the problem I have with that is that it's right smack dab in the middle, and it feels like it's just a plot device to get them a ship. And it is. That's exactly what it is. But it drags on for 2 episodes. The stuff with Usopp I thought was pretty good. I think that character has some really fun moments and does a good job. He doesn't drop the ball except for the cannonballs. But other than that, he doesn't really drop the ball at all. I think he's pretty solid throughout. But yeah, there's a lot of performances in this that I don't think are great, nor are they like as great as people say. Like, I don't think Kobe is doing a good job in this series at all. Every line delivery sounds like he's about to cry, and which
is kind of sad because I like the actor and the look that Kobe has on the show, but I agree with you. His acting isn't all that great.
Yeah, it's one note. Everything is one note. I don't want to get too far off without addressing the chat. Trick says so. It's only up to Arlong as far as the episodes that are out. That's it. Only 20 volumes, 90 issues of manga is all they cover.
90 chapters,
chapters. The nerve. And Brother Joe wants to know what the budget was for this, and it's Netflix. So the budget was Arlong's face and a couple of cool CG things. There's a big CG eel that's pretty sweet, and then everything else I could make with my computer here at home. There's a scene where a character's swords get split into 3 pieces, and it is so bad. It is so bad. The CG as those swords fall apart. It was like it's like when you watch X-Men Origin Wolverines and he first pops the claws, and they're that weird kind of like gray, like there's no sheen to them. They look like cartoons. That's what we get for large swaths with, especially Buggy's powers, I would say. Anyone got any comments on the budget for this or how the effects looked?
So I'm kind of gonna jump on the bandwagon of what Liam from Grand Line Review said, which is that the great thing about this being One Piece is that One Piece is a fantastical world, and it isn't supposed to really be realistic, and so they didn't really have to make the CGI super realistic like they had to do in Cowboy Bebop. I understand what you're saying about the swords. I think that you have to go into the show with a suspension of disbelief, and to enjoy the show, you have to not think about the like the CGI, and like follow the story. One thing I did like is they put a lot of detail into the snail phones. They're called Den Den Mushi.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah,
the practicals, like the snail phones, I loved. I absolutely. There's some characters that are fish that are all practical, look phenomenal. There's a character that's a goat and the Cryo stuff.
Yep.
Phenomenal. One of the things though that needs to happen, in my opinion, in the show to sell me on that world is we need to see more of it. All of these characters are like token. If we live in a world where goat people do your taxes, why is there no goat people selling fish at a market or wandering around? Why are we not seeing more of these characters just interacting out in the world? I think just a few of those would really help to sell this as a fantasy, and then that would afford that suspension of disbelief by
that is true
by extension.
And in the actual story, it like the people of the world get much weirder after the East Blue arc. Like the East Blue arc is pretty tame compared to the rest of the story.
Yeah, like the East Blue arc is normal
Cryo.
People. No, honestly, the only thing I was going to throw in is when I started it, like you said, this world is a very fantastical world. So rather than watching it like it was a live action adaptation, I tried to look at it like Speed Racer. It's a live action cartoon.
Yes.
And as much as like I did not really like Luffy's Gum CG, but again, I was just like, well, it's a live action cartoon and this is what we got. It's fine,
Mm-hmm.
And I will add on, I Googled it and I'm seeing 17 million.
Oh, 17 million to Netflix. They paid Dave Chappelle like 60 million just to go on stage with nothing written down and make up jokes for 2 hours.
Well, the other thing too is I'm seeing okay. So meanwhile, the financial allocations for crafting individual episodes of One Piece adaptation is stated to exceed 17 million. So I think it's 17 million per episode.
No way.
Wow.
No way. No way.
I mean, my quick Google search.
$160 million. I can't. If they did, somebody got rich. Somebody got very rich.
You are also talking about, I believe, the biggest anime property in existence, maybe behind Pokemon, but that's like retail stuff. I don't think property wise. So they probably had to pay some pretty big rights to get it too.
Under I think it's Superman actually. One Piece is either the highest selling or longest running comic book franchise in the world.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll concede that maybe they threw some money behind it. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it, but I'll concede that there's probably some money spent. There's also a gazillion.
I will say, Manuel.
Yep. Go ahead.
I will say, Manuel, a lot of the money, because I've watched the behind the scenes stuff, a lot of the money went into building the ships because the ships are like they actually had to build the ships.
Yeah, and I've also seen 3 other things here. Like this article is saying individual episode budget of 18 million.
Oh my goodness.
So you're talking like 12 to 18 per episode.
What I could do with $18 million. Okay. All right. I'll concede that I don't think it looks like it personally. I do love the practicals. I do love the ships. I love every time when we're not getting CG, and some of the CG is great. Like I said, that big eel thing that bites off Shanks'
I really
arm.
like that.
That was beautiful.
So since we're talking about that, I do have a question. Was that their attempt at hockey in that scene with Shanks and the giant eel when he looked it in the eye?
Yes. That is the first demonstration in the series of Conqueror's hockey.
Right.
Which I wish they would have done better. I wish they would have made the screen like flash red or something.
That was exactly my point. I was expecting some type of effect or like the bubble like they do in the show or just something to represent like he's using hockey right now. Because they do like the eye glimmer and I was like, is that supposed to be hockey? And then it leaves and I was like, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be hockey.
I have no idea. I just figured the dude must have some sort of mind powers over fish. I was like, he's like an Aquaman. Because I understand. I know that they use hockey, and then there's another thing they use to augment their powers, isn't there? Other than just their
devil fruit and hockey.
Oh, there isn't. I thought there was a third one when I was doing my show prep.
There's three different types of hockey though.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize any of that. I do think as an outsider looking in, if I would have seen a bubble or flashing red lights, it would have raised more questions than answers as far as like how like I just understood that guy's Aquaman. He probably talks to and maybe has sex with fish. I don't know. I'm not going to try to judge because the man that played Shanks was absolutely gorgeous. So that being said, I think that there is something really cool happening here in terms of like adaptation. I've heard many people say, I've heard you say now, this is a pretty faithful panel to panel adaptation of the anime and manga. I think that's cool to see. I think that so often with live action things, we're trying to deconstruct, we're trying to take everything apart, we're trying to tell something new and fresh in a way that doesn't please fans or non-fans alike.
Yep.
I feel like this one was a solid effort. It did not swing for the fences, but it didn't walk on to first base either. You know what I mean? I think that they did a really good job of delivering something fans and non-fans can appreciate.
And I do think like most anime fans that I know, and I'm included in this, when you look at a live action adaptation of an anime, we really do want beat for beat what that anime is, says, does. Like, don't. I also did enjoy it, but don't do the live action Netflix Death Note where you basically rewrite the whole thing to fit it in a completely different location. I hated that. Give me literally just give me a beat for beat representation of the anime and I'll be happy. If you want to do something different, interweave it.
Yeah. See, and I liked that one. That it was a really dumb emo love story with a demon thing. But as far as like, since I had no Death Note experience, I thought, all right, I get it, kind of. So sorry.
I was just no, it's all right. I was just gonna say, I did say some parts were a panel to panel representation. I will say, however, that especially in the Shellstown, the Marine base part, and in like Buggy's tent and stuff like that, those two episodes very hard skewed from the storyline of the original manga and anime. I don't think I don't think in the manga they're ever actually inside Buggy's tent. I think they're all outside in Orangetown.
See, that was something I wanted to ask you guys about because I want to talk about the guy with the iron hand and the really bad set
jaw
dress.
prosthetic.
What was that? That was so bad. You could still see his jaw.
Yeah, you could still see the bottom jaw
and the bottom lip when he talked. It made no sense.
Yep.
But anyway, is that guy worse in the anime and because like I don't feel like he did a bad job. Like they're like, oh, he's such a dick. No, he hits a guy, he hits his kid, and his kid is a bigger asshole than he is. So to me, he just seemed like a normal dude doing his job. And Luffy's grandpa's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like it struck me weird. It struck me weird.
So in the manga and anime, he's even more of a jerk. In fact, in the manga and anime, he kills one of his own Marines, and then there's like a little girl that's there. And he orders the Marines to murder this little girl, and they like try to defy him, and that I think that's the reason that he kills one of his own Marines. So he's much worse in the manga and anime.
And that's the exact scene I was going to bring up, because the scene where they're in the bar and the what is it, Helmeppo? Is that the kid's name? Am I getting that one right? Okay.
Yep.
When he steps on the little girl's rice balls, that actually happens when Zoro is all tied up, because then he wants Luffy to feed those to him.
Yeah. They took away a lot of the meaning of that scene, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
Because
Zoro's a dick in that one. Like the guy is a dick. The blonde guy is a dick. Yeah. He crushes the rice ball. But then he like turns around. He's like, I'm gonna order beer. I'm not gonna. And then Zoro's like, you're gonna apologize or I'm gonna kill you. And he delivers the line just like that because he's got one speed. That speed is broke ass Clint Eastwood. And so he antagonizes this dude into the bar fight.
Yeah.
Like at no point is this a very heroic move on his part? But
They really made Zoro look bad in this, because I mean, in the original, he's strung up in the yard there, and he's there for a full 7 days with nothing to eat, and then the little girl brings along the rice balls, and then when she offers it to him, that's when Helmeppo comes up and steps on them, and then he asks the girl, like, still give me them to eat, because he hasn't eaten anything. So Zoro is much more altruistic in the original, and in this one, I feel like they just wanted to be like, Zoro's just a badass all the time.
I feel like in this one they wanted Ludi Lin and they couldn't get him, so they hired this guy, and this guy kind of fits the bill. He does a fine enough job with, like I said, the martial arts. Guy kicks ass. The action sequences in this so good, and everything with Zoro so good. But
for the most part,
really, now when we talk about the production budget, one of the last comments I made was there's 1 million dubs. You watch the credits on this, there's 5 minutes of dubbing credits. I wonder if it wouldn't be better to watch in another language.
I considered that
probably
myself.
Because some of
it
the
probably would be.
I also wonder how different it would be.
Yeah, it probably would be if you're like a fan, a huge fan of the original, because in the Japanese dub, those are the actual voices from the what is it, from the Japanese subtitle version of it. Mayumi Tanaka, I believe it is who plays Luffy in the Japanese dub, is actually playing Luffy in the Japanese dub of the live action.
That's what I was going to ask about, because if it is that crew, those are voices I know and already kind of like. That might solve a lot of issues with line deliveries.
There you go, guys. Let me tell you, the acting in this is occasionally good. And when it's if you have that same viewpoint as I do, maybe watch it in Japanese. You won't understand it, but you'll read it better. All right. So guys, let's say hi to a few more people that jumped into the chat here. We've got Fable, one collection down in the house, man. Station. And we also have the House of Nerd show also in the house. They've got a show tomorrow on the hashtag Blame Fable and his amazing friends, the best damn pop culture talk show on Instagram. They're gonna be tearing down the house, talking about everything pop culture, and also you do not want to miss. Stay to the end for the legendary blaming segment, which is always a ton of fun.
It's my favorite part.
And every time I've been on there, I usually let loose with all my profanity at that time. So I'm sure that other people have had the same experience. Go and check it for real. We also got Taki 616 in the house. Station, brother. Station, brother. One of
Taki.
My absolute favorite people on the planet. Mrs. Chamorro in the house. Station hotness.
Station.
Oh my goodness.
Station, Miss Chamorro.
I know it. My beautiful wife. You can also find her on the channel. She oftentimes will do short reviews of some of the horror comics that are out. So make sure that you keep it locked and loaded so you can hear her beautiful, sexy, dulcet tones. All right. So guys, we are 38 minutes in. We're going to take a quick break for our sponsor. Our sponsor of this episode is, let's go with, Geek Out with Roscoe. Geek Out with Roscoe is a CBCA award nominated for favorite community artist. So if you are interested in the comic book community awards and you're interested in art and you're interested in voting because you're super into democracy and that's your jam, if you also can control fish with your mind and maybe also have sex with said fish, I'm not going to judge you, but I will judge you if you do not go over to cbcawards.org and place some votes for some of these amazing community members. There are The pop culture philosophers are nominated for 6 categories, including best hair and beard. So go and make sure that you place some votes. And guys, next year, as the award season rolls around, be voting for and thinking of voting for and nominating some of your favorite content creators on Instagram, because there are some really great content creators on Instagram, and I think that they should also be included in the comic book community awards. So head on over to cbcaawards.org, check it out, and go place your vote. Your vote matters. And in this election season, this could be the most important election of your life. So go and vote. Maybe vote for Geek Out with Roscoe. Definitely vote for Pop Culture Philosophers and anyone else that you fancy on that amazing group of finalists. All right, guys. So let's keep this kind of positivity train rolling. We started off so good. Trix is like, you guys are so positive, and then I've been sitting here like, it looks cheap. The acting is stilted.
Okay.
And
to be fair though, like I had the same thought. Like I actually am pretty positive about it, but I've got a lot I can complain about. But you're getting to the point where you're really nitpicking stuff to actually complain about this show. That alone should be taken as a good thing. Like people aren't just saying this sucks.
Yeah, they're not saying
that's what I said as well. I had a lot of tiny things to complain about in here. Garb's dog hat. But I said honestly, if I'm complaining about Garb's dog hat and not a lot of the big stuff, that's a very, very good sign. Would it be okay if we moved over to best moments? I was gonna give what I thought was the best fight.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some great moments on this show.
All right. I thought the best fight in the in the show was Zoro versus Mihawk. They literally did everything faithful adaptation to the manga, even down to making Zoro spin his swords for his attack, which the name of it is, by the way, Santoryu Ogi or Sanzen Sekai. Santoryu Ogi Sanzen Sekai, which means 3-sword style, ultimate attack, 3,000 worlds. But I thought that was cool that they had him spin the swords for that. Specifically with Zoro's fighting, I realized that they couldn't really adapt 3-sword style as much in real life, just because a lot of Zoro's attacks are not possible in real life. But the actor who played him, I can't remember his name, but he actually learned real what was it, sword jitsu, whatever it's called, the real sword fighting, in order to do that. And so most of the time he was just using a 2-sword style, but for the important moments he brought out the 3 swords, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, even down to the point where Mihawk actually fought him with the tiny sword on his necklace. And then of course when Zoro says I'll never lose again, that was so powerful. I thought it was really good. That was a line that people were hoping was going to be in the show, and I'm glad that it got put in there.
I'd have to agree with you. That was a darn good fight. I actually liked everything in. You know what? Actually, when they attacked the Marine base, now I'm gonna forget the village, even though we said it like 6 times, but when they attacked the Marine base, that was a really, really nice, like, singular. Wait, no. You know what? Screw it. I'm changing my mind. When Shanks hit the pirates at the very right before that pirate takes Luffy off in the boat and the dude loses his arm, that single take of all those pirates are shooting in there. they're fighting with swords.
Yeah.
That was fire. That was like one of them hallway scenes in Daredevil. I was all sorts of excited there. So
You
I'm
pretty
still
much
in
took
that
my
one.
pick.
I know, because I saw your face when I did it.
I've also only watched half the show currently, so it's like one of the few good fights so far. Because honestly, I didn't think the Axe-Hand Morgan fight was all that good. The reason I say that is because when you were talking about when Zorro brings out the 3 sword style, and there's that moment where his mouth sword is up against his neck, and I'm just like, why did you stop? Like, carry the attack and move on.
They can have his 3 sword style, and they just have to have him hold a small blue screen item in his mouth to create it. Yep, that's true.
I like that Trix pointed that out.
Here's my thing with the Zorro thing and the sword in the mouth and then the spin is. This is a world where guns exist. It's a world where
and you can cut.
At what benefit is the knife in the mouth? I don't understand.
That's a backstory thing.
Spinning the swords. That can't be beneficial for anything. You're locking your forearms.
If 2 swords are better than 1 sword, logic dictates 3 swords are better than 2.
Yeah.
I don't understand the flourishes. And again, that's something I'm sure is straight from the anime, because every anime I've seen, everyone shouts out their moves just like Luffy points out.
Everyone calls out their attack names.
All great fighters call out their finishing moves.
Yeah. So that being said, I understand why it's there. I'm not saying I dig it, but I understand why it's there. It's just it's a world where guns exist, and I don't understand why people are so bad with guns. That Dracula guy is literally on a beach. It's like Normandy. She's just blowing up everywhere. It's like, y'all can't hit this guy. He's like a 7-foot white guy. Y'all can't hit this guy. Come on. But again, it's a fantastical world. He's a super villain or hero, whatever we want to call him. Some sort of super powered type of individual. I could tell because his eyes are weird. So that's how you know.
His nickname is actually Hawkeyes.
His nickname is Hawkeyes.
Yeah, Hawkeye's Mihawk.
Yeah, and for the longest time, that's the name I knew him, not Dracula.
Yeah.
All right, I'll allow it. Only because I couldn't think of a joke to go there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Manuel. You brought up earlier. You were saying that Zorro's actor kind of had like a lackluster line delivery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say he did, and I do wish he had put more like life and humor into Zorro, because Zorro's a really funny character. But to be honest, in the English dub of One Piece, Christopher R. Sabat is playing Zorro, and Christopher R. Sabat is the same guy who plays both Piccolo and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z. But like all of Zorro's lines are like that. He's like, I was a pirate hunter. I fought scum just like you. And it's all of his lines are one note, like the whole time, unless he's like yelling or something like that.
Especially at this stage too, because once he actually goes full Luffy crew, he changes a little bit. Like he loses kind of loses the stoicism of the like I'm hunting the bad guy and lays back a little bit.
Well, okay, and like I said, that could definitely be. Like I said, he's probably very stoic in the book and in the anime. But I
still laugh that they really dressed him up like a K-pop artist.
He's he likewise very pretty man. Great bone structure. With Zorro, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. there's a very Dragon Ball evolution to the casting in this show. This guy Zoro is very much the Yamcha that they put into Dragon Ball Zero. Nami is very much who they picked for Bulma, and Luffy is got a really weird aloofness that we saw with Justin Chatwin, right? I mean, like, am I the only one drawing that parallel? I feel like there's this really bad habit.
But you're right.
It's a really bad habit.
You're right.
So what you're saying is that if Dragon Ball Evolution had a good script, it could have worked.
If Dragon Ball Evolution had a good script and a
Dragon Ball Evolution had gone done a faithful adaptation. Yeah, if Dragon Ball Evolution had done a faithful adaptation, it would have been great.
Doesn't even need to be a faithful adaptation because Dragon Ball doesn't do faithful adaptations of itself. Like a Dragon Ball GT that is not a faithful they're a faithful extension of Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is not really a faithful extension of Dragon Ball. And Dragon Ball Super is pretty much just more Dragon Ball Z. So it's like, I think that you don't have to do that. I do think one thing that would have made One Piece better was casting older. I think that an older Nami, an older Zoro, and I think Luffy's probably about the right age for that level of optimism, but I think a little bit older actors would have brought something different, a little bit more nuance to these roles, and maybe made them feel a little bit more lived in.
I can see where you're coming from, but at this stage in the story, I actually think younger is better. Because what are they, like 15 at this point in the book?
Well, they definitely aren't 15 in the show. But the thing is because fuck, I don't care if Robin Shu, I could get him, like, I could dust him out of like a coffin and I'd still watch him play Goku any day of the fucking week. If they did that, if they cast a little bit older, we'd accept it because there are right actors for these characters.
But if you're gonna do something like that, you actually have to come to a hard end because Chu wouldn't take it as far as you're going. Like if this continues, and let's say this gets the full all the way up to Gear 5 adaptation, you're talking 10 plus seasons. Depending on how much they cut out, I guess. But like this could just keep going.
You could get rid of a lot, man. You could get rid of almost that.
Oh, yeah, like half of Alabasta, all of the Foxy Pirates. Most of Skypiea.
You only need little tiny bits. You basically just need somebody to tell you that there is no gum fruit. So you need a scientist. You need a few of those. What are those big obelisks with the hieroglyphics on them? You need a few of those. You could get to where One Piece is in 3 seasons. You absolutely could.
But you would make a lot of people angry.
Oh, you piss off a ton of people.
There's a whole bunch of the One Piece community that absolutely swears and says you cannot skip any of Skypiea because it's super important.
It's only important to here's one of the benefits of manga that you have, same as comic books. Lore becomes incredibly important because you have time to invest and you're reading at your own pace and you're absorbing that information. The other mediums, anime, it's a reason why Full Metal Alchemist deviates drastically from the manga at a certain point. It's a better show because of it.
It caught up to the manga.
Yeah, but it's a better show because it's a totally different show at that point, but it works in that world, and that's why Brotherhood works in its particular world, right?
All right.
I do think Skypiea could have been a movie. There's a lot of One Piece arcs that could have been movies.
There's a lot of place to explore. I think you save Skypiea. You do a House of the Dragon later on with a couple of other little side notes and things that you could do. But you
say that, but One Piece is one of those shows that you could legitimately do that. Like Buggy himself could get his own spinoff. If you got to Skypiea, Enel, is that his name? I'm terrible with surnames.
Yeah, Enel or Enaru.
Enaru, yeah. You could do an entire side thing with him.
And again, I'm not a manga guy. I'm not an anime guy. I think that I wouldn't worry if I'm Netflix. I'm not worried about pissing off the fans. Netflix knows the fans are gonna get pissed off. Buggy even fans are so toxic nowadays. It's not only is it a line, it's like a line with a music drop for accent. They're like, we know people aren't gonna like certain aspects of this. We're gonna call it out ahead of time so that we look clever instead of lazy. And I think that so that said, make something that the television audience is going to watch and is going to drive subscribers to your platform. I feel like One Piece is a show that's accessible to all, but I do feel like it's a show that is geared towards the fans quite a bit.
That is true. On a little bit of a positive note, I did put in my notes my favorite scene or my favorite part of the whole show. I had to say was Sanji's flashback. I like Sanji's flashback so much because they didn't break it up. They did it all in one go, and they made it feel really realistic. And I liked how they really showed it from Sanji's perspective. And as a fan, there was some stuff I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that they were actually shipwrecked for 85 days, which was absolutely mind-blowing. So that was my favorite part. I thought that was great.
Absolutely. I love that they keep shoving that kid from Sweet Tooth in like anything they can. They're like, you got like 4 years of being cute. You are staying on everything.
Well, isn't he like just subcontracted by Netflix at this point?
I'm fairly positive he's a CG creation of Netflix.
He has a secret tattoo on his. He has a secret tattoo that just says Netflix.
Yep.
Property of.
Like, my daughter will watch these like random like kids shows on Netflix, and he's like the main character in every single one of them. But yeah, no, I thought that was an effective scene. That entire sequence of the shipwreck, I think is really effective, and I think that when it comes time for the big fight sequence, when you really do get to see Sanji like kick ass and take names, I don't know. As somebody who was a child of we'll call it extreme discipline and things like that, I like when I see that, it's like that connection that he has to Zeph and how that drives him to fight even harder is something I totally related to, and I thought that was a really cool character moment.
One thing I wanted to point out, actually, ever since the trailer was, I've never liked Arlong's costume. The other fishmen were great. Karubi, the fishman with the long ponytails on top of his head, they got him perfect to the manga, but Arlong is actually like a saw-nosed shark, so his nose is actually like a saw in the manga, and I hated how they made him look like a African tribesman with spikes through his nose, and then B, how they made his physique very small. I didn't like that because in the original he's this huge hulking like fish man that is actually super intimidating. What I did like is the actor that played Arlong acted him perfectly, and that's why I actually ended up liking Arlong. I think an interesting thing is if an actor's costume is bad but their acting is good, you'll end up liking the character.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm really only to the point where I've seen Arlong show up to talk to Buggy, and that was my first thought with that too. When he was like walking around Buggy, I was like, wait a minute, aren't the fishmen supposed to be like 10 feet tall? They're these like bigger beings. I was like, he really seems kind of short. But I agree with you. His acting, I was just like, yeah, but that is definitely Arlong.
Yeah, I like that they spent a lot of time creating the nose prosthetic, and then they're like shit, we're out of time, and then they just bought one of the Klingon costumes from the first season of Star Trek Discovery, and they just had him wear that.
I just thought it was the Batman cowl.
Yeah. This whole section up here. And then what's to add insult to injury to Uriah's point about the costuming on Arlong is like in the next scene when you get Luffy's flashback to Garp. Garp's wearing the fucking Arlong costume. He's got that like yellow Hawaiian shirt on. It's like he's what the hell? What the hell? But you know, it is what it is. You haven't seen that scene yet, but you're gonna laugh your ass off, Cody, when you get there. All right.
With the Straw Hats and their costumes, I didn't really like pay attention much, because I mean, in every new arc in One Piece, all the Straw Hats get new costumes, so they're never really in the same thing, and that was kind of a strength for the show. I did like that they went to the original costumes for Arlong Park. Zoro having a white shirt, a green hakama, the belt around his waist, Luffy having the iconic red shirt, blue shorts, stuff like that. I thought it was interesting that they gave Zoro such an attachment to the white sword, the Wado Ichimonji, because he doesn't really have that strong of an attachment to it in the manga. Although it doesn't get separated from him that much, but then also, what was I forgot my other point, but yeah, he gets really attached to that. I thought it was interesting that they made the map of the Grand Line the MacGuffin, and I thought that the map of the Grand Line was going to replace Nami's 100 million that she had to pay. And then it didn't, so it was weird. I was like, are you switching from the story or not switching from the story? I wasn't very sure there, but I thought that was cool. Scariest part of the whole series had to be Buggy trying to drown Luffy in the seawater tank. That was super crazy. I think a lot of the moments were very dark. And I don't know. I feel like I like One Piece to be more comical.
I think there were moments when it tried really hard to do things like that were unnecessarily risque. You know what I mean? Buggy's language, for example, is not that shit is like a terribly bad word or anything, but like they just have him work it into that when he's just ahead on the boat at a certain point. It's every other word out of his mouth is shit or some variation of shit. It's like watching Trailer Park Boys and seeing Mr. Leahy. Like that's what it was.
Oh,
it was
when he's the head, he's so annoying.
Yeah.
And he's like the only one that even swears at all. So it really stands out when he's the one going at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it goes out of its way to avoid like the over the top gore, but then it wants to show you like the aftermath of gore. Like we're not gonna show you Avila or whatever braining somebody with that duck mace thing, but we are gonna show like brains on the deck. Like I feel like they'll
show Zoro cutting a guy in half, kinda.
Yeah. It's like they want to go
sliding off the bottom half.
I think they intentionally made this PG-13 and then like went through and added some stuff because like, well, it's Netflix, we can. Let's do it. I do have a One Piece like technical question here. Luffy has a big scar on his chest in the manga and the anime. Is those little tiny scratches that he got from Schmidt from New Girl? Is that supposed to be that scar in this, or is that just
no?
Oh, okay.
So Luffy doesn't get that scar until like the Marineford arc, and that scar comes from Jinbei is trying to get him to safety, and Akainu, his devil fruit is he's made of magma, and he punches like a flame or magma fist straight through Jinbei, and that scar comes from the fire coming out of Luffy's body. And that's where the scar comes from. Although there is a filler arc called Ocean's Dream, where somebody with a devil fruit makes all the Straw Hats forget that they know each other, and Zoro and Luffy have a fight, and in that, Zoro gives Luffy an X-shaped scar. And so it's filler, so it's non-canon, but that's where I believed the X-shaped scar originally came from.
Okay. So it's not those two, because I was like, that's lame. That's the lamest scar I've ever seen. Maybe it'll grow. I don't know how rubber works. Maybe he stretches, and that's why it's all long on the. I didn't know, and I appreciate you dropping some knowledge on me. All right. Let's. So we talked about our favorite action sequence. We talked about our least favorite characters, and then we talked even more about some shitty characters, and then we divulged into. I'm not quite sure whether or not they liked this show. So I want to do something positive right now. I want to go around the horn, and I want us to pump up. I want the audience tuning in thinking, wow, Manuel said the acting is so bad and the costumes are so bad. And your eyes like they changed a bunch of stuff. And Cody's like, I didn't even watch the whole thing. So that being said, let's give the fans one really strong reason. What is the number one reason to watch this show? Because we all have three completely different perspectives. I've never watched the anime. Uriah is like, there are super fans, there's obsessive people on Reddit, and then there is like Uriah, who's actually right now filming this from a hideout below Oda's home. So he's very much excited for One Piece. And then Cryo was like, I can take it or leave it. I only watch isekai stuff like Devil is a Part-Timer, so to hell with this One Piece stuff. So that means
you don't realize how much isekai is out there right now.
So give us one thing. What is the one thing they should grab onto? I'll start with you, Uriah.
Okay. I just wanted to add really quick first, for those of you who don't watch my channel, I'm so big of a fan that just this morning I actually did a review of the newest One Piece chapters, so I am current in the manga. But number one reason to watch live action One Piece, as a One Piece fan, I think that you should watch it because you're gonna love every single one of the core emotional moments. Gum Gum Pistol, Never Gonna Lose Again, Nami's Luffy Help Me, all of the big core moments that like made you cry, that hit your heart. You're gonna get to experience those all over again, and you're gonna love that. For people who aren't One Piece fans, I think you're gonna like it, just because if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, it's not as polished as Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's got that Pirates of the Caribbean feel. And I think this will be a really easy way, like I said before, to jump right into the story of One Piece.
All right.
So there's my take.
Cryo, what about you? What's the one thing fans, why should they watch this?
One Piece is currently over 1,000 episodes. This is 8 hours. And it's a good enough representation of the amount of show that it covers that if you're kind of like me, where you're like, 1,000 episodes, come on now. I don't really want to sit through 1,000 episodes or binge that. This is good. On top of that, I don't praise live action anime hardly at all. Like in my repertoire, the only live action anime that I even like is Rurouni Kenshin. And that actually even stops at the first 3 because then I found out Netflix did 2 more. So for me to even like a live action anime from me is very high praise. And so far, I've actually enjoyed this. And you're coming from a very lukewarm One Piece fan. So it feels like pretty high praise if you're asking me.
And from the perspective of someone who does not watch anime or read anime, why should you watch this? Because it's number 10 on trending on Netflix, and you want to stay current with whatever you want to be one of the cool kids. It's a fine enough fantasy set in a swashbuckling world that is like Uriah would say, something that it's just not common. We don't see a ton of pirate action, so you might as well get in on the ground floor. The characters are very earnest in their portrayals, even if the direction or their acting choices might be suspect. Everyone seems like they enjoy this. They seem like they're enjoying themselves playing these characters, and the action is phenomenal. So you're definitely going to want to check this out. And so yeah, so it's not all doom and gloom. There is some ho hum to this as well, you guys. There's some ho hum to this as well. So we're over an hour in. We didn't do our sponsor spot. I'm gonna quick thank our sponsor for the actual channel itself, BCW Supplies. You guys take a look. We'll be right back. Can I be real with you guys just for a moment? You know, there was a time in my life where my wife and I were young, and you know, we were experimenting with things. We would go out to antique stores and comic book shops, and we would bring home all of these glorious stories, and it would be wild. Some nights, you know, we'd just be stacking them, and oftentimes I wasn't careful. At least not as careful as I wanted to be. You gotta understand, we were young, we were excited, we were energetic, and we were enthused. So we didn't know whether or not we were ready for the responsibilities of this hobby. I remember there was one night I thought I was super careful. I had just finished this really cool book, and I was sliding it into the box, and I was going for it, man. I was in there. I was in the zone. We had a lot of fun that night. I remember about a week later, my beautiful bride came up to me and she said, "Honey, we have ticks." I said, "What?" She said, "Honey, we have spine ticks." And I was like, "But we're so careful. Every time that I pull it out, I make sure that I'm careful. Like how did this happen?" Part of me was selfish, and I wondered whether or not it was the right time in our life to really be having to have this book with ticks in it. I mean, we're young. We have our whole lives ahead of us. So I thought maybe, just maybe, if we put it into a mystery box, we could get it out to a family that was ready to love and appreciate this book, which is why I'm so thankful for the sponsor of this video. BCW Supplies is there for you when life hits you with the unexpected. It doesn't matter how selective you are about which box you're putting your books in, or how careful you are when you're pulling it out. Ticks can happen to any of us. BCW Supplies offers the bags, the boards, and everything in between, so you don't have to be a fool. You can wrap your issues. In my collection, there's a ton of jewels, and my jewels deserve to be protected, and so do yours. So go to the link in the description, use offer code Nerdtastic at checkout, and save yourself 10% off your first order. So I want to say a big thank you to BCW for sponsoring this video and for being there for every phase of a collector's life.
Very nice.
Which is awesome. Because
Manuel, you're on mute.
I just bought my second freaking comic box.
Yeah! Attaboy. Did you use Nerdtastic at checkout?
No, but I'm going to buy a third one because this one is almost full, and Transformers comics are ramping up, so I'm gonna now.
Dude, are you reading Void Rivals?
No, because when it first came out, I did not realize it was tied to Transformers at all until the Jetfire cover, and then for the longest time, I was like, "What is this?"
Dude,
so I have ordered Volume 1 and 2, but I don't have them yet.
Every issue, a new Gen 1 character. Not necessarily always a Transformer, but a character from that world has been showing up, and it has been so much fun. So much fun. But yeah, big thank you to BCW Supplies for supporting the channel. Been a stalwart partner of ours. Definitely use that code in the description, and or use that link in the description and use that code Nerdtastic. Save yourself 10% at checkout. All right, you guys. So we are an hour and 15 minutes in. We are officially 1/8 the length of One Piece. And I think we've really started breaking this thing down. I think we may have cracked this thing wide open. Now that we ended the last one on a positive note, kinda. I do want to talk a little bit about the devil fruit itself in this one. Did anyone else think that thing looked plastic as hell?
Yep.
How would you guys have done it? You guys are far more Cryo. You 3D print and create things I couldn't even dream of. Is there a way to do this right?
Yes. I don't know if I can find it. There is a YouTube channel called Chef PK, and he specifically makes anime recipes. He did Gum Gum Fruit in one of his episodes. So I would just say go and look that up. Would have been perfect.
What about you, Uri? What did you think about the plastic grenade that Luffy ate that was full of Jello? What did you think of that one?
To be honest, I
did you swear out loud? Because I swore out loud. I saw that and I was like,
no. To be honest, you're looking at it from appearances. And as someone who loves One Piece, I saw the reveal of the Gum Gum Fruit, and I was just like, yes, it's the Gum Gum Fruit. I thought it looked cool. I thought it looked fantastical. As I said, I came into this with a huge suspension of disbelief. So why? I mean, in general, watching the show, I was less looking at picking apart the set at the sets, and more I was engrossed in the story, except for Garp's dog hat costume. My God!
Phenomenal.
Three times in my notes, I wrote Garp's hat is awful.
I hope against all hope that the Leonidas from 300, that broke ass version of him that plays Garp, I hope against all hope that man had that in his trailer. He was like, "Where's my dog hat?" And the production designer was like, "You're not wearing a dog hat." He's like, "Listen, laddie, where's my dog hat?" And then he went into his trailer and he pulled his own one out. And that's why in half the scenes, they're just showing that beautiful silver fox made of his, because the production designer's like, take that fucking hat off. That looks ridiculous.
Take it off.
And I hope there were fist fights and everything. So
yeah, it's hard to decide what was worse, Garp's hat or Axe Hand Morgan's jaw that was not a jaw.
Oh, you know what?
I mean, that's easy for me. The jaw. The hat's a hat. Like, I can complain about the hat, but that jaw, man.
The problem with the hat,
the jaw was horrible.
If he'd have been chilling in his quarters, like the first time we see him, when the snail calls him, and it's like, and he's like, a straw hat pirate, you say, and then he's like, he looks out the window like that's supposed to mean something to him, and then like. And when we first see him, if he'd have been wearing that hat, you'd be like, he's eccentric. But no, this motherfucker shows up to a court martial in this hat. Like, he walks around, everyone's in full regalia, they're in perfect formation, and he's walking around with this hat. He is tempting somebody to laugh at him.
That's
all right.
That's kind of the thing with all of the Marine Command, though, is all of them kind of walk around in their own drip.
I know, but what the hell is Bogart wearing? He's like, I'm wearing a cape. It suits me. Like, it's so stupid. What's with the Marines? And why does Hellman's Mayo have to cut his hair so short when he gets that hat? Like, was there a scene that I missed? Well, I don't know what his name is. Other Sanji. All right, that guy.
Sanji. Ow.
Honestly, if I were to be reading this in a manga or watching an anime, I couldn't tell those two apart. They look identical. But regardless, why does he cut his hair? When did he cut his hair? Did I miss something?
Zoro cut his hair.
In the
live
action, Zoro cut his hair. But if you took a piss at that moment, it's good that you went to the bathroom at that moment, because that scene they did not need to put in.
The mirror katana scene.
Yeah, no, with naked from behind. What I naked from behind? I was like, what?
That caught me off guard.
Oh, station, Nick Common Culture.
Station.
First off, Nick, you do not want this gum fruit. It was made of plastic. But more importantly, let's get it right. It's the Hito no Mi model Nika. All right. It is not the gum fruit. The gum fruit is a lie straight from the very pit, my friend. This is the model Nika. Nika, I don't remember, but it's that one. So watch your eyes video. 5 things you need to know about Gear 5th Luffy right here on the channel. You can also check out any of the shorts. If you're like 5 minutes is too long, then you can watch 5 shorts, get the same information.
5 minutes is too long. Good luck getting through 8 hours.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's they're just certain iconic things that they're supposed to hit, and I just felt like this gum fruit was something that they really fucking missed the mark on. Like they opened this.
It was the right fruit. It was the right chest. Like you were saying, my thing was like when they showed it, it looked like it had this like sparkly metallic sheen, and I was like, "What the fuck is this Fabergé egg?"
But I can see like from your eyes standpoint, I can see the excitement seeing it, because it's something you're passionate about. So you would like suspend your disbelief on that, because it's like, this is something that I'm really excited to see. It's a moment that's so iconic. I really can't wait to see how it plays out in live action. And you know what? I have the same problems. Honestly, that gum fruit may have looked incredibly plastic to me. I legit watch every episode of Power Rangers that comes out, and they are using the toys from the toy aisle as their morphers and weapons, and have been for many, many years. So I haven't a leg to stand on, and not even a peg leg to stand on in this fight. Let me tell you that much.
Chef Seth.
All right, guys. So we're coming up on an hour and a half. So let's go around with our final thoughts, and then let's go ahead and I'll give you guys the floor so you guys can plug what you got coming up. So I'll start with you, Cryo. What's your final thoughts on One Piece? This show.
It's worth a watch. I do want to say one more negative thing, and it's only because it's literally my favorite scene in all of One Piece, and it was not in this show. And that is when Shanks is fighting the bandits, and the bandit comes up and puts a gun to his head, and he looks at him and he's like, "Guns aren't for threats." And then the other dude blasts him right from behind. They kind of incorporated that scene, but not with the gun. He wasn't right there. I was going to say that, like, they did that because there was that shot and then it like zoomed in on the guy. But the thing he says at that scene, I wish they would have done that scene a little better. But again, you got to get so nitpicky to really have a problem with this show. And that's such a great problem to have with a live action adaptation of an anime. So, I mean, I really can't say anything too bad about it. Like, go watch it. It's surprisingly worth it.
I dig it. I thought it was an entertaining show. And like I said, my 7-year-old daughter glued to the screen, and enjoyed it at a level where I don't think it had its desired effect. I intentionally wanted her to watch it so she'd see Scary Clown. Then next time she doesn't do something right, I could say, you know what, I'm gonna go get Buggy and he's gonna come here or whatever. But instead she's like, bring him, he's cool.
He's her favorite character, isn't he?
He is. I heard her call her brother a shitian just a minute ago. But no, it's definitely, if you're not a One Piece fan, you're gonna watch it and you'll be mildly entertained, but as mildly entertained as you are with anything that's out right now, to be perfectly honest. And so that being said, I think there's that it's accessible. I do think it's more for the hardcore fans, but I do think it's accessible. What about you, Uriah? What's your final thoughts on this?
Well, in my notes, I put Honestly, loved everything after Syrup Village. Before Syrup Village was iffy. Buggy was okay, then annoying, then thankfully out of the story. Official rating 8 out of 10 afros. Great, not jaw dropping. I want more. Please don't skip Log Town. Just in general, I what the biggest thing I felt while watching all of it was there's plot holes, there's comedy. It's One Piece. It is One Piece. Like it stopped feeling like live action, and it just felt like One Piece. And if you love One Piece, then you're gonna love this show. But yeah, there were a couple things wrong. So yeah, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 is good. And like Cryo said, if you can only pick apart the small things like specific parts of costumes, then the show is pretty damn good to be honest.
Absolutely. Definitely go watch this if you got 8 hours to kill. You're like, I got nothing going on. It's my day off work. I may or may not be a little stoned. You are absolutely going to dig this. You're gonna be like, you are gonna.
That might pull you into the world a little more. I'm just saying.
You're gonna see snails for weeks.
You're gonna come into work and you're gonna be like, man, this Brazilian Fantastic Four movie I watched was fucking crazy.
You know, I've got a 3D printer right there. I kind of want to 3D print the snail phone now.
Dude, you should. You absolutely should. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go around the horn. I'm gonna make you guys big. Let the people know where they can find you, where you're at, and yeah, Cryo, start with you.
Well, if you're looking for what I'm doing, my Instagram is probably the best. I'm at cryo.prime. I can actually show off a few things I'm currently working on. If you're a fan of Trigun, you might know this gun, but this is a fully 3D printed gun. I've got pretty much everything done, so I'm going to be working on finishing this up and painting it. Otherwise, I do model kits. So I know that the next kit that I'm going to build is going to be the Moon Gundam.
Oh, dude.
But I am waiting on an announcement before I start this, because if things line up, I might enter this into a build contest.
Nice.
So
nice.
That's all I know I have on deck. As far as my YouTube channel, I am Cryo Prime on YouTube. I put stuff up very sparsely, but you'll probably see a manga review, a toy review every now and then. So if you're interested in that stuff, check me out.
Absolutely. And check out Cryo Prime here on Nerdtastic News with Cryo's Cool World. He's got a really cool Inferno video that'll be dropping this weekend, and a really cool Cryo B Prime.
Oh
video.
Yeah, no, I got the Core Class Optimus Prime and Bumblebee 2 pack. So
They're so little.
Yeah, they're
adorable.
100% bought that set for the trailer. It's so worth it.
Oh, dude, it's so adorable. And then you're right with it. What about you, brother?
Once again, I'm AfroX. So my channel is AfroX. On that channel, I pretty much do anime education. Right now, I'm in a big One Piece kick. Specifically because if you even put Luffy's face on a thumbnail right now, you'll easily get over like 100 views at least. But as for social media, the stuff that you can find me on is there's the AfroX channel on Facebook. There's also the AfroX official fan club on Facebook. And if you join that, you'll be added to a chat group. And I usually tell people in the chat group when I'm going to be skipping weeks or when the schedule is going to change. I do want to give a big notice to my Patreon, which is patreon.com/AfroX. That's a big one. Honestly, if I wanted to really push anything right now, I really want to get more people into my live streams, more people commenting, and just get a bigger community going. A big thank you to Trixie Anime Hater. You're the biggest fan I have on the channel right now. We are currently at 383 subs. I think that's absolutely amazing. Just for anyone who's interested, really quick, every Tuesday I come out with an edited video. And also every Tuesday I do my live stream series Anime Legends, where I talk about something related to anime, something different every week. We on the 6th, we are about to start Anime Legends Season 4. So that's really exciting. Every Friday, I do a review of the newest One Piece chapter. Not only a review, I'm getting into voice acting, so I do a live read of the chapter, and then I also review it. And that's every Friday morning. So if you're current in the manga and you want someone to talk to about it, because there's not a lot of people to talk about it, definitely be watching that. Just in general, my edited videos are right now. I'm in the middle of a series of a crap guide to One Piece. I'm making a complete guide to One Piece that is simple and easy to understand, so that people who like say, oh, the show's too long, stuff like that, can still understand the plot and stuff like that. The next video I'm about to make on that is a crap guide to Dressrosa. So that's very, very exciting. Other than that, I love making AMVs. I have probably about 35 AMVs on my channel, so you can go watch that. They have fun songs, stuff you'll like. So definitely see those. I also do nerdcore rapping, which is rapping about nerdy stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all my stuff covered. Thank you so much, Manuel.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to have more of these conversations. We got to schedule more and more of these lives. I'd like to do a Cryo's Cool World live. If I can come up with or you can come up with an idea as to how we would do that and what it would entail and how we would work it out. But I'd love to do more of these lives with you guys. This is the channel that I mostly post my stuff to. I have like 6 channels, and some of them have things. You can watch those. They're not that good. You can come here, though, and watch comic book review stuff and cartoon-related content right here from me on Nerdtastic News. Those are the 2 beats that I cover for this channel. Recently dropped our Green Lantern Rebirth review. That one's doing pretty decent for us. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and give that a shot and check it out. If you like it, drop a like button. And then I said this on Robbie's show last night. One of the things that I do when I create videos is I record, I do research, and I record myself out loud saying what I think should be in the video. And 90% of those things I just don't use, but they're still pretty good information. So I thought, hell, why not put it out on YouTube so that you guys click it because you get a notification, and then you're like, oh, this should have been cut out of a video, but I already got the view from you, so thank you very much. So those will be dropping on the channel sporadically. You'll see some stuff on Emerald Twilight and Final Night, 0 Hour in regards to this Green Lantern review. I'm also got an Immortal Hulk video right now that was 2/3 of the way recorded. All the skits have been recorded anyway, and most of the content, and that will be dropping in September for Horror Fest. And so in that, I had to read the Bruce Jones run and the Paul Jenkins run, so I've got some videos on those. So stay tuned. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in to Otaku Odyssey Live. I think there's only one thing we can do to end this stream. I think that when you think about the ocean, you guys, I think that there are many, many songs that spring to mind. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Sailing takes me away. Those are all great songs, but I think that there's one song that really encapsulates the pirate's life. One song that speaks to the heart of One Piece. So if you guys could join me in singing this triumphant chorus as we leave. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
SquarePants.
I don't know the rest of the lyrics.
SpongeBob
SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob
Bob
SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
All right. So I don't know how to end
Wasn't
the broad.
expecting that one.
I don't know how to end. Like there's a
Can
bit
I
we
can I
do.
do something to end?
Absolutely. I honestly don't even know. What I'm saying is, I don't know how to end this stream. I hit end broadcast during that, and it didn't end. So yeah, you're right. Go ahead, keep it going.
Okay.
I don't know how to stop this.
In the spirit of Luffy, I will give you his most famous line in both the Japanese and English. Kaisaku oni ore wa naru. I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
Yeah, I still can't end the broadcast. It looks like you're logged out of StreamYard.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Is your end live stream button broken?
I don't know. It just says looks like you're logged out of. Did it kick me out but not kick out Uriah? Are we like only live on AfroX right now?
I don't know. You think I pay attention to this stuff? Well, he disappeared on us. Now what?
Oh. Yep, there he goes. Okay.
See, this is why I don't do any of the technical stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, and he doesn't know what he's doing, so no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I guess if we leave the studio, it'll end. Stay legendary.
I legit don't know where he went. I can't be live. Am I live? How am I live? I don't have control over this. Says I'm live. What the heck? Well, I can't end this show. I don't know how to do that.